All right, it looks like we're live. So, thank you all for being here. And let me just invite a few people. Speaking of thanking people for being here. All right, give me a second, guys. Just hold on, hold your horses. I know I've been more or less quiet over the last 2 days. That's because, as you should be doing, I was going and getting refreshed. I was going and getting educated. I was going to my mastermind. And just exactly as you would hope, hey Jackie, hey Jordan, I am come back to you now. I have come back down from the mountain. And I'm excited. My mind is blown. I've got so much good stuff for you guys. And yeah, so that's what's up. So lots of stuff to unpack for me. Lots and lots of stuff to unpack from, hey Lyndon, from this weekend where I was hanging out. I'm gonna shamelessly tag these guys. Let's see. Hey, look at that. They just popped right up. I'm going to shamelessly tag Peter Voog and Mark Lack, and I'm going to publicly salute them as my mentors and the leaders of the Game Changers Inner Circle Mastermind, which has succeeded where many, many other, hey Trevor, high ticket programs have totally left me flat. This one did not and does not so far. Like, just what you think you'd want to have happen, if you invested in a high-level mastermind. To me, that's what has happened. So by the way, you guys, if you're feeling this, please send me some emojis. We haven't talked in a couple days. Show me some love. Let me know you're out there. I guess you're sort of getting a view of my hotel room here. And so participate. And in a way, that's kind of part of what this live stream is about, right? The part of what this live stream is about is getting you to participate, not just with giving me emojis, but do it. Do it right now, because why do we hold back? Why do we hold back on things? I mean, this is a little thing. I'm asking you to reach down and press the little smiley face button 10 or 15 times. It takes you nothing to do. It takes you nothing. So Jackie, Jordan, Lyndon, Trevor, Jimmy, whoever else is on here, just do it. Why? Why wouldn't you share value with me if I'm sharing value with you, right? And yet, it's so funny and so insidious how sort of I'm not calling you guys lazy, but we all get this kind of, I want to call it a laziness. It's like an apathy, right? And it starts in little ways and it grows into big ways. It sort of metastasizes. The sort of, the apathy of just, I don't know, not going that little extra mile. Now, it could be in our own lives. It could be in our own businesses. It could be in a moment like this. I have asked all of you to share some emojis with me. So far, only Trevor has done it. I'm not here to shame anyone, but think about that. It is such an insignificant thing to do on your end in terms of effort, and yet it does so much, right? And so this is the subject of this live stream. Hey, Glow. How many other things are there? How many other places are there in our lives where with just a little bit more effort, we could make so much more happen? Think about that. With just a little bit more effort, discipline, focus, commitment, follow through, we could make so much more happen. Do you get it? Hey, Glow. Thanks for the wave. Thanks for hashtagging me. Hi, Diana. And so, I'm just giving you guys the most low commitment example ever. Give me some emojis across the screen. But it's not pandering, right? This isn't just I'm going to give you this psychological sort of high level, justification for giving me emojis. No, I'm saying, look, we're sharing value right now. Or rather, I'm sharing value with you. And all I'm asking in exchange right now is some likes, some thumbs ups, some smiley faces. So go ahead and let it rip. Go ahead and let it rip. On the count of 5, okay? Just go crazy with them. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. Let them rip. If you like me and what I'm about, let's show Facebook. Let's get the algorithm. Let's pump some blood into it with some likes and emojis. Okay, to the topic at hand. Now, can I do this while I'm live? No, you can't. You can't tilt your phone while recording, unfortunately. Thank you for the love there, Glow. I very much appreciate it. And guys, sorry for the shaky screen thing, but I'm in the hotel room and I didn't bring a tripod, nor do I have my laptop. So, but I want you to take just putting your thumb on the like button and clicking as a sort of what's called a microcosm. It's called a synecdoche. There's a fancy word called a synecdoche. And it's when it means a time when a little thing represents a bigger thing, right? In a way, it's how we do one thing is how we do everything. Or it means when a part is symbolic of the whole. And I can promise you that if it is to you not worth your time and energy to give value back to someone who's giving value to you in a way that costs you nothing, then we can find other places in your approach to life and to business where the same thing holds true. Does that make sense? Are you following that? And so we'll find other places. We can find other places where you're holding back. Where you are holding back. Because maybe, figuratively speaking, you don't want to, in the Christian ethic, they call it pay the outermost farthing, right? In Eastern wisdom, they call it if you bow, bow low. What they both mean is go all the way, commit, do it. And that's what I'm here to talk about. So, just get a sip of my coffee here. So good. Let's talk a little bit about the money story. Let's talk about the money and the earnings story, because that's sort of what inspired me to do this live stream. Kev, my crocodile. What's up, buddy? So, oftentimes let me back up. Let me back up and say that within any culture, and being entrepreneurs, being in my space is being part of a culture, right? Being online business people, service providers, coaches, experts, specialists, that is a culture. And within any culture, there are narratives that are accepted at face value, hi Maria, without ever being questioned. Oh, I'm giving you the good stuff here. Please pay attention. Within every culture, any culture, subculture, whatever, there are narratives that are baked into that culture that are flatly accepted without being questioned. Now, many of these, in fact, most of them, hey Ben, thanks for tuning in, affect our choices, our thinking, our emotions, and our decisions. To the extent that we buy into that culture, they affect us proportionately. So in other words, you guys are full on into the online coaching expert entrepreneurial space, as am I. And one of the things that I didn't expect to see this weekend at my super awesome high-level mastermind group I'm in is just a stark example among people who you and I might consider to have, quote unquote, made it. People who were millionaires. People who were doing, I got to tell you, without naming names, it's so funny. I was sitting next to and then had dinner with a guy who was like 24, who's making $600,000 a month. Like, just mind-blowing, right? I am friends with a team who are doing $1 million a month in the drop shipping space. Think about that, you guys. But some of the people, even at this high level, doing as in earning, Maria, some of the people, even at this high level, are still, without even realizing it, buying into all these stories. Let me tell you one of the stories, and you're not going to like this, by the way. I'm just going to tell you that right now. This is going to be uncomfortable for some of you. One of the stories that, Maria, hey Rob, let me just tell my tale here, Maria. I sort of am not able to jump back and track your question right now. But if you really want to answer it, just send me a PM and I'll answer it for you. One of the stories that I would say was all through this incredibly high level group of people, really high level, was this idea that impact comes first. And I told you wouldn't like this. Hey, Jeffrey, thanks for tuning in. So here's what's funny about that, right? Now, we have been trained by our culture. We have been trained by the culture of online entrepreneurship and the narratives, aka the stories, that thrive within that culture, to believe that impact is the most important thing. But I want to kick the shit out of that for a minute. And so I am not here to suggest that you don't value impact. I'm certain that you do. I am here to suggest that it is not, in fact, the most important thing for you. I am here to tell you that if you have a definition of what impact means for you that is deeper than something totally vague and nebulous like touching 1 million lives, then you are not, in fact, serious about, clear about, and focused on your impact. And I told you weren't going to like this. Here's the thing. Here's how culturally accepted narratives work. And then when I say that, remember, I'm just talking about the stories we tell ourselves within groups, okay? Here's how they work. We are pack animals. We are social creatures. We want to fit in to our groups. Michael, would you agree with that? We want to fit into our groups. Now, you may be telling yourself, not me, I'm a rebel without a cause, I'm a rugged individualist. Bullshit. You're not so rugged, you're not such a rebel that you don't want to at least be accepted by the other rebels and rugged individualists, okay? So it's perfectly fine to want to belong to a group. Where it becomes problematic is when you drink the Kool-Aid unquestioningly. And one of the ingredients of our cultural Kool-Aid, God, this stuff is good. Oh my God, you guys got it. I hope you're loving this. By the way, if you're loving this, send me some emojis. It takes nothing for you to do it, and yet it gives value to me, who is here giving value to you, right? Why wouldn't you? It's so funny. It's such an insignificant thing for you to do that adds so much to me, and yet, and by me I mean anyone on a live stream that you're enjoying, right? Anyone whose content you enjoy, and yet so few people do it. Isn't that funny? So here's the thing. You come into the online space, and once you're in the online space, you hear the stories. And you hear the stories because you look around and everybody's screaming, in this case, oh, I'm all about impact. I'm all about touching 1 million lives. I'm all about blah, 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 blah. And so you do the same thing. You fall in lockstep without even realizing it. And you begin to adopt the same language, the same ideas, the same things. And most of you guys, and I say this from love, don't have any clear idea what your impact is beyond I want to change lives. Well, what does that mean? Let's be honest. Mother Teresa changed lives, but so did that psychopath who shot up a concert in Las Vegas. And I don't say that except to, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be overly controversial. I'm saying if you don't have any clarity on what that means for you, fucking anything changes lives. You walk down the street, give somebody $100, you've changed their lives. Hi, honey. However, walk down the street, poke somebody in the eye for no reason, you've also changed their lives. You get me? So, what I'm saying to you is that as we come into social groups, peer groups, we adopt the beliefs of the group. It happens. Hey, Kirby. And one of the core beliefs of the online entrepreneur group is that we're here to impact people, to dent the universe, to blah, 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 blah. But most of us can't even say what that means for us. Most of us don't have a clear idea of what that would even look like. I don't. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't. I know that I want people to be better off for having come into contact with me, but I can't quantify that. I mean, I have started to. I know that I want to help other people who feel mission driven to be able to make more money. That's what I want to help them do. And I want to help them reach their people. So I guess it's starting to get quantifiable for me, but it took me a long time. And the same is true of you. Let me playfully kind of smack you around again. You won't even put your thumb on the like button for me when I am breaking it down for you right now, and I know I am. I know good and well that what I'm saying is powerful stuff. And you won't even put your thumb on the like button. So if we won't even follow through and we don't even know what it means for us to make impact, how can we ever expect to succeed? How can you ever expect to succeed? Because remember, how we do one thing is how we do everything, right? And so there's a lot that we need to be aware of. There's a lot that we need to be paying attention to. There's a lot that we need to be thinking critically about and being curious about. Okay. So let me tell you another piece specifically about this impact idea. So Peter is one of the guys who runs the mastermind. He wasn't content to just sort of go by the stories, so he created a very, very powerful survey tool. And he surveyed, I believe he said 500 or 1,500 people that were his target audience, which are entrepreneurs, right? People like you and I. Can any of you guess, when he surveyed them about what's most important in their lives, and they were anonymous and behind closed doors, can any of you guess what the number one thing that those people wanted in their lives was? Of course you can. I've overshadowed it here. I've foreshadowed it here. I've led up to it. Guess what? Impact was dead last. Now this is an anonymous survey. This is not people online preening around being self-righteous, right? This is an anonymous survey where people were far more likely to tell the truth. Impact was dead last. Connection was first. Connection to, I believe it was connection and opportunity or something like that. So I say this to you to tell you that, well, hell, what was my point? I was on such a good rant here. What was my point with this? That we tend to subconsciously adopt a lot of stories. That's where I was going with this. We tend to subconsciously adopt a lot of stories. And the stories tend to match the group that we're trying to be a member of, right? And those stories tend to go unquestioned. But I want you to stay curious and apply critical thinking and question everything. So for me, one of the big breakthroughs when I started questioning my stories over this weekend is that I always grew up having money stories, like many of us do. Then I did a tremendous amount of work around the topic of money. And I thought that I was getting better and better and better. And in truth, I am. But here's the interesting thing. My stories shifted, but they didn't shift into all the way into reflecting the truth of my current situation, which is that really and truthfully, I don't really have old bad money programming running around in my head anymore. Beyond the fact that I hadn't modified and updated my stories to reflect the truth of where I am now. Now, this is something that applies to many, many, many of us, right? Because here's the big tie-in. What is one of the most popular stories in our community? The story of the money story. So not the money story itself, but the story of the money story. So we feel like publicly it's safer to say that money is somewhere starting at, it comes in below impact, and ranging all the way down to money isn't important. All right? You see what I did there? So depending on who you are and depending on your specifics, it's very likely that you would publicly rate money as not as important as impact. And that may actually be the truth for you, but it's likely not the truth for you. What you would, hey Josh, what you would say privately, without any fear of people knowing, is that impact is important, but it's not as important as other things. And I'm here to tell you that the money piece has a direct correlation to the impact piece. And people don't like hearing this, and I get that. But it doesn't make it any less true. You'll never make big impact in a meaningful, ethical, positive way without money being part of the equation. So I want to challenge you to re-examine and be honest about what's really important to you. And I believe that if you do this, this will create freedom for you mentally and emotionally. So, like for me, impact is important. I do really want to connect and serve, and service feels amazing, but I understand now, and I'm no longer afraid to say publicly, that I want to generate millions of dollars through those efforts. And I know that sometimes business is business. And I don't hold on to or subscribe to any of these sort of navel-gazing, pie-in-the-sky ideas about how, service is first and then money. It's not always the case. Sometimes money is first. And as Peter said at the mastermind, business is business, you guys. So I want you to take from this that you can examine your own stories. And if you're truly a firebrand and a rugged individualist and an entrepreneur, you won't be afraid to publicly say what your truth is. Can you dig it? I knew you could. All right. No call to action today other than to challenge you, to really challenge you to examine your stories, because what will happen when you when you do examine them and you find that some of them don't fit your reality, you will create economy of motion. You will create the ability to move forward more quickly. You will reduce drag on your forward momentum and your progress, right? This is why dragsters don't run the race with the parachute open, which is what you're doing when your stories don't match your reality. It's like you're driving down the quarter-mile race, but you've got your parachute open and you can't figure out why it's so hard and you're going so slow. You're looking at the guy or the girl next to you and they're taking off like a shot because their parachute isn't open. Might help you to close your parachute. How do you close your parachute? you start to examine those assumptions. You examine those stories. You get true on what's really true for you. You get clear on what's really true for you. And when you do, you can move through the world confidently. You can move through the world easily. You can move through the world powerfully. You can make big moves. You can do big things. But you'll never do those things if they don't match the story you have of who you are. Said another way, if they don't match your identity. If your identity is all fucked up around small money thoughts and small person thoughts and stuff like that, you'll never be the big person. It's just not how it works. So close the parachute, examine the stories, fix the ones that don't fit the truth, and then get in gear. This is the other part. Take action, move forward, kick ass, make big moves, do big things. For more on this and everything else about me and how I roll, join my group. Peter, I was just talking about you, brother. I was just sharing some of the stuff you blew our minds with over the weekend, man. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Guys, get in my group. It's simply called Manny Wolfe's Group. You can't miss it on Facebook. There are no other groups called Manny Wolfe's Group. If you liked this and you want more of the fire to keep you warm, get in the group, Manny Wolfe's Group, and you will not be disappointed. Okay, I'm out for now.